What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. MTG here with another episode. If you're new to the channel, hi there. Today, I want to talk about the iPhone 13 mini and the iPhone 12 mini and kind of really compare them and see what exactly the differences are in both of these devices. Like, if you have the 12 mini, is it worth the upgrade to the iPhone 13 mini? And if you want to pick up a mini, is now the time to pick up an iPhone 13 mini, or should you go for the cheaper iPhone 12 mini, because Apple is still selling this for a cheaper price, and they also have the 13 mini as well. But before I do begin, I'd really appreciate if you can give this video a thumbs up and turn on the bell notifications, as it does help out the YouTube algorithm and will help push my content out to more people. And also, by the way, before I actually do really dive in, I just want to let you know, right up here is the iPhone 13 Pro Max recording, and right over here is the iPhone SE recording. So most of this video is going to be shot on iPhone. You'll see some B-roll, and that is with my Canon camera. But the next couple of videos will be based and shot with the iPhone. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the quality. I think they're great devices, and this goes to show that you can pick up an iPhone and start making videos and start a YouTube channel if you're really hesitant. So if you're going to pick up one of these devices, go right ahead, pick it up and start making videos. I mean, it's never too late to start a YouTube channel. Anyway, let's dive right in. All right, so let's take a look at design for both of these. When you look at it just from like a long distance, they really do look familiar. And a lot of people would argue that this is like the S series, but in essence, I guess Apple just kind of wanted to put that S naming aside and call it the iPhone 13. And I think there's actually a lot of upgrades that consider it more so than just an S upgrade. So looking at it, I mean, just as a glance, they look very familiar, like I said, but you'll notice the key difference, especially on the back, is the camera lenses. The camera lenses are much larger on the 13 mini than the 12 mini. What we're told is the camera lenses on the 13 mini and the iPhone 13 are being borrowed from the iPhone 12 Pro Max from last year, which is why they have the larger camera lenses, rather than the iPhone 12 mini, which is why this case will be too big and it will not fit. I mean, it'll fit, but just look at it. It's a little too big, but you can't get this iPhone 12 mini case sitting on the iPhone 13. It just won't fit because of that camera lens. Like, the camera cutout is just too big for last year's cases. So right off the bat, if you're going to upgrade from the 12 mini to the 13 mini, then just keep that in mind. Now, what else are we looking at for design? Not too much. The button layout is pretty much the same, which is why the 13 mini case did fit on the 12 mini. We're still getting a lightning connector on both, and the volume rockers, as well as the mute switch button on the left hand side, as well as the SIM tray. Other than that, nothing has changed too much, at least from like the back and the sides. We still have a glass back and aluminum sides. I kind of wish it was all matte, aluminum sides and aluminum back, or like a matte finish to it, because it is, if you can tell by the video, it is a fingerprint magnet, especially on this one. You can't really see on this really light, subtle pink, and I like this new pink. And the colors this year are also different as well. Now, when we go ahead to the front, you'll notice that the notch is smaller, and especially if you have these side by side, you can notice that the notch is much smaller on the 13 mini compared to the 12 mini. And if we take a look, we can definitely see how much smaller it is. It is just a little bit vertically longer on the 13 mini than of the 12 mini. They shaved off horizontally, but they added some a little vertically. Now, Apple is not making use of that extra space. They're not adding like a battery percentage that a lot of people wanted since the iPhone 10. So unfortunately, we're not getting that. I hope we do one day, but as of right now, it looks like we're not. Other than that, there's really no main difference. Now, how did they really get rid of that notch or make it at least 20% smaller? Well, if you take a look, the earpiece right here is located inside the notch on the 12 mini, but when you look at the 13 mini, it's sitting right above the notch. So they were able to kind of shave off just a little bit of that notch, and hopefully next year we're looking at maybe a hole punch design, but we still have a long time for that. But otherwise, there's really no main visual difference. There is one thing though Not well, design wise it's the same, but thickness wise this is just a little bit thicker than the iPhone 12 mini, and that is because it does have a larger battery, and I will be getting to that just in a little bit. But otherwise, like, you're not going to feel, it's not going to feel any different if you pick up the 13 mini if you're upgrading from the 12 mini. So just do keep that in mind. I think they're beautiful designs, and you can't really go wrong with any of the iPhone 13 or even iPhone 12 models. Okay, so when it comes to performance, I've made a lot of videos on the iPhone 12 mini. It's been my main iPhone device for the past year, as I recently have switched to the iPhone 13 Pro Max as my main iPhone device. But the A14 Bionic chip in the iPhone 12 mini has been amazing. I have seen no hiccups, nothing whatsoever. Gaming, Pokemon Go, Call of Duty has been amazing on the iPhone 12 mini. Granted, it's a smaller screen, so kind of playing Call of Duty isn't the greatest, but nonetheless, you're going to have amazing performance. Now, when it comes to the iPhone 13 mini, you're getting the new A15 Bionic, which is apparently like a 10% increase. Correct me if I'm wrong in performance, but guys, this was already performing like a champ, and this is even, I mean, you're not going to notice a difference right off the bat. Maybe in long-term use you might notice, because this is already a year old, and as time goes by it's going to get much older too. But you're not going to notice a difference. Like scrolling and texting and browsing the web, watching videos, I've seen absolutely no difference from either device. So really, if you ask me, if they put the A14 in the 13 mini, I probably wouldn't have, I literally would not have noticed. Both of these do have a 60 hertz display. We've seen the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max, which do have a 120 hertz ProMotion refresh rate. These do not. And for this price point, and I'm going to get to price in a little bit too, but for this price point, especially if you want to compare it to like an Android, in the Android world, we're getting 120 hertz for like $400, $500 devices. So, I mean, could they have put it on here? Yes, but it looks like they're kind of marketing the ProMotion, the refresh rate, high 120 hertz refresh rate as a pro feature. So we're not going to be getting that on the 12 or 13 mini. Granted, if you did it anyway, I mean, it would take a huge hit on battery, and battery's already not been that great with the 12 mini anyway. So performance, you're not going to notice any difference at all. And really, iOS 15 has brought you more subtle changes. It's not the overhaul with iOS 14 from last year. But take my word for it, when you're texting, browsing the web, watching videos, whatever it is, you're going to enjoy every single second of it with either device. Now it comes to camera. So we did talk about this, like the camera lens getting much larger. It's a little bit thicker, smaller notch. So these are the main upgrades, but the camera is what Apple really did focus on. And we're definitely going to notice a difference. I've been taking some sample images with both devices, and I'll share those on screen. But the biggest thing here is, now since we are getting the camera lenses, larger camera lenses, they're going to let in more light, obviously. So with like night mode, and we're getting this new cinematic mode, but with night mode, we're going to have more light in the photos. So that's the advantage of having a larger camera lens. Now, like having more light in. Now, when we take a look at the main differences, like I said, larger camera lens, letting in more light, but also just looking at the photos, you see the difference. I mean, the 12 mini is not bad. It's a great. So if you pick up the 12 for your camera, you're going to be getting awesome camera images and awesome video. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you compare it to the 13 mini, you're going to notice that improvement. Is it a worthy improvement to upgrade from a 12 mini if you have one? Probably not, but you're going to see that improvement nonetheless. Now, another feature that also comes, that Apple has kind of been telling us that is one of the greatest thing they put in this year in their iPhone 13 lineup, is cinematic mode. And you're not going to be getting that on the iPhone 12 series at all. You're going to be getting this only on the 13. And what cinematic mode is, it kind of blurs the, let's do this. It kind of blurs the background. So if you look here, I'm kind of showing the plant, and it's kind of blurring the background right here. That's pretty cool, and you can use it for humans or for objects, whatever it is. And you're not going to be getting, this is what we can call kind of like a portrait video, but Apple is calling it cinematic mode. You're not going to be getting this, like I said, on the iPhone 12 series at all. So if that's a feature that you're going to be using, cinematic mode, then you're already looking at the iPhone 13. Now, do keep this in mind. This is a first generation software feature, so it's going to have its bugs. It's not going to be perfect. And a lot of people are saying this is like a half-baked feature, but honestly, with my use of it, I've enjoyed it. Now, I tried putting cinematic mode, and you probably won't see any samples of it because I'm still trying to understand like the I'm trying to put it in Final Cut Pro, and it's in Pro. It's just so confusing. Like it just won't. It really does light up and brighten the video when I put it into my timeline. So I've been having trouble. I'm trying to see what the problem is. If you know what the problem is, like when I put it into my timeline for cinematic video, it's just really like boosting up the brightness really considerably, and it's just terrible. So I can't really show right off the bat how the like a sample video of cinematic mode looks like. But that's what the main thing is. You're getting cinematic mode, a larger camera lens, which is going to let in more light, and overall just improvement over the camera over the 12 series. Is it bad? Are these bad? No. Like if you have this, don't be like, man, like I should upgrade just because, you know, the camera. No. You should not. That shouldn't be the main reason why you should upgrade. Like you're getting amazing performance on this already. Like if the 13 didn't come out this year, this still probably would have been one of my favorite camera devices or cameras on a phone. If, like I said, this didn't come out, but you won't have any issue with this. But then again, take a look at the sample photos on screen and you kind of make your choice. Which one do you think is better in your opinion? Which one do you prefer? And let me know in the comments down below. All right, so next comes battery. And since I've been using this for a whole year, the iPhone 12 mini, I can tell you right off the bat that if I go to battery, you're going to notice my battery health is at 90%. Granted, like I've used it very well. I haven't used it every day as heavy usage. Like I use it once in a while, like from morning to night as a heavy user. But otherwise, like I wasn't using this day and night 24/7. No, that's why my battery capacity is still fairly well at 98, and it just recently dropped to 98. But the battery, it's not going to last me all day. That's a guarantee. I'm going to have to, like right now it's at 75%. Granted, I've switched devices now, but by the end of the afternoon, like 3-4 p.m., like I'm really suffering, and I have to kind of put this device in charge, and I typically use MagSafe, which is only capped at 12 watts for both of these. Do keep that in mind. But with the MagSafe, I don't use Lightning anymore, and I don't use it on the 13 mini or the 13 Pro Max. MagSafe is the way to go for me. But by the end of the afternoon, like I said, I'm getting around like 4 hours. If I can really push it, like 5 hours, but that's like really pushing it. 5 hours of screen on time. So for those who have the 12 mini 1 year later, they're going to start noticing a downgrade in battery life. So if you have the 12 mini, you're like, man, I really want to pick up or have a phone that's this size but have a better battery life. Well, Apple says it's getting an extra hour and a half of battery life, and obviously look at it, it's at 89%. I took it out last night and charged at the same time, and really I've been playing around with both of them probably for the same amount of time, and this is at 89%, that's at 75%. So do take note, this does have a larger battery. Apple doesn't reveal their exact milliamp hour sizes, but obviously they do breakdowns. People do breakdowns, and I think this is like capped at like 2,400 something. It's got this weird number, whereas this is like 2,200 something. I don't remember the exact numbers. Let me know in the comments down below. But with a larger battery, that's why we're getting this thickness. With a larger battery, A15 Bionic, it's better for battery, obviously, and you can easily get this to 5 hours. Now, this will last you until the end of the evening. If you're a heavy user, you can comfortably get home from work 5-6 p.m., plug this in and be like, okay, I'm all set for the day. I don't need to worry about a charger. And granted, nowadays we're around chargers more often than ever. Well, at least I am. So you wouldn't need to worry about battery life at all. So, and do keep this in mind. This is what I really want to point out. It looks like iPhone 13 mini is going to be the last mini of Apple's iPhone lineup, at least for now. So if you're saying, oh, I'm going to pick up a mini next year, well, I wouldn't get your hopes up because it looks like we're not going to be getting the mini lineup. This is the last year. So if you really want to hold on to a mini or get a mini for in the first place, like you don't have one, then either pick up the 13 mini or the 12 mini, because that's really it. Like these two are the only minis we're going to be getting for a while. Next year, we're not going to be getting it. And who knows when the next time we'll be getting a mini iPhone that's really flagship, but in a smaller form factor. So do keep that in mind. Okay, and next comes price. We've had a lot of controversy with the iPhone mini lineup in general with pricing. So last year when this came out, it was priced at $699. That's with carriers for 64 gigs. So if you went and bought this unlocked, it'd be $729. And if you wanted to bump it up to 128 gigs, it would have been an extra $50. So $780 for the unlocked and $749 for the carrier version. And that was pretty expensive for 64 gigs for a small, like people were expecting this to be like $599, at least at the most like $649, but pricing it for $730 for the unlocked, it was really a bummer. It was pretty expensive. But this year we're getting the same thing in essence, but Apple did get rid of 64 gigs as the base model. This is now 128 gigs for the base model, and I think that's enough for most people. Like these two are both 128 gigs. My Z Flip 3 is 128 gigs, and my 13 Pro Max is 128 gigs. 128 gigs is enough for me. So for most people, it's enough. But if you really do look forward to a larger size, you can get 256 gigs on that, but it's going to be an increase in price. Now, base storage, 128 gigs, base price $699. And again, it's $730 for the unlocked version. So if you pick up a carrier version in the States, Verizon, T-Mobile, or AT&T, this is $699. Unlocked is $730. Now, Apple is still selling the iPhone 12 mini. They dropped it down to $599 for the carrier version. So they dropped it down $100. And if you pick up the unlocked version for 64 gigs, it is $629. So $630, the $100 decrease. And the base is still 64 gigs. So do keep that in mind. And they are selling the iPhone 12 as well. And if you do want to bump it up to 128 gigs, you're going to be paying an extra $50. So taking a look at pricing, honestly, they're still expensive. I mean, you probably can find an iPhone 12 mini renewed for maybe cheaper than that. But if you were debating on which one to get, like, should I pick up the iPhone 12 mini for $630 or should I pick up an iPhone 13 mini for $730? Well, in my opinion, I just want to put it out there. In my opinion, if you were debating between both, I would go for the iPhone 13 mini. One, because it's newer. It's going to last you longer. This is already a year old, so do put that, when you're making a decision between both, remember that this is already a year old. You're getting double the storage. You're getting a larger camera lens, which is going to equate to better camera performance, and as well as cinematic mode, a better video performance as well, and a larger battery, which a lot of people did complain about the 12 mini. That was the main complaint. Apple went ahead and said, we're going to fix the biggest complaint about the 12 mini, and that was the battery. You are getting a larger battery, and you're going to notice that battery improvement with the 13 mini. And these are three main key features that you're going to really look at when picking up the iPhone 13 mini as opposed to the iPhone 12 mini. So if you're to ask me, I would say pick up the iPhone 13 mini when it comes to price. But then again, it's your call. If you pick up the 12 mini, they got some really nice colors that I think are kind of better than the 13 mini's colors from this year. But like I said, it's your choice. Remember, though, this is going to be the last year we're getting a mini lineup. So when you're picking up, and if you're going to pick up a 12 or 13 mini, do remember that. Now, my final thoughts are this. I love both of these devices. I love that they're small, compact, and they hold flagship features. That's what makes these devices great. Apple didn't really go ahead and compromise. These are literally the iPhone 12, the iPhone 13 and 12 respectively, but just smaller. That's really it. They're not making any other compromises other than being smaller with a smaller battery. That's it. Camera performance, just performance in general using the user interface performance. Everything else is the same chipset. It's all the same, just smaller. And that's what I like. A flagship that is pocketable, that is compact and portable. You are losing out on battery life if you do pick up either one compared to their larger brothers. But I'm pretty sure those who go ahead and pick up these devices are aware of that. They're making a compromise to battery. But which one would I choose for this year? Obviously, I would go ahead and choose the iPhone 13 mini over the 12 mini because it has those improvements that really do make a difference. Like 64 gigs is not enough for me, but 128 gigs is good. It's enough for me. And that larger battery, I noticed a difference already. I noticed a difference, and for me, cinematic mode, I'm gonna go ahead and really dive in depth into cinematic mode and use it for the work that I do here on the channel. So this is not a bad device by all means. If you want to pick up the 12 mini, go right ahead, but just know you're getting a smaller battery, which is already worse battery life than the 13 mini. It's already a year old, and base storage 64 gigs. You can upgrade, but if you're going to upgrade, then just get this. Instead of paying $680, just pay an extra $50 and get this for $730 for the unlocked version. So do really keep that in mind. And also, like I said, I'm going to say it again. This is the last year for the mini lineup. So when you're picking up a mini, and if you want to pick up a mini, really do keep that in mind. Now, question is, if you have a 12 mini, should you pick up a 13 mini? Well, the easy answer is no. It's like you don't need to. You don't need to. Would you want to? Yes, you probably would want to. You probably want a larger battery that's going to get you longer. It's a newer phone, so it's going to last you an extra year. You want that. But do you need it? Not necessarily. Now, if you're saying, hey, I'm already like on the iPhone trade-in program, I'm just going to trade in the 12 mini already and get the 13 mini, then go right ahead. That's no issue at all. Or if you want to, spend the extra $730 and pick up the 13 mini, then go right ahead. It's not a need, rather, it's a want. If you want to upgrade from the 12 mini to 13 mini, you can. You will notice that longer battery life for sure. And also, this is the last mini. So do keep that in mind. Don't say I'm going to wait for the 14 mini big, because that's really not looking like it's going to happen. Now, for anyone, like I said, who's looking at either 12 or 13 mini is my choice. And for those who are saying, okay, I have a 12 mini, should I upgrade to a 13 mini? You don't need to, but if you want to, you can, because you'll notice the improvements in the 13 mini as opposed to the 12 mini. But other than that, they're very similar devices, where it's looking like we're going to see that redesign with the iPhones next year. But don't hold out for what's next year. Don't hold out for the future, because the future has not happened. It's not present. So we don't know what's really going to happen in the future. Therefore, don't go with what rumors are saying, and don't wait for next year, because if we waited this year for a bronze iPhone 13 Pro Max, guess what? We didn't get it. We didn't get an always on display. We didn't get a lot of things. We didn't get a flat edge Apple Watch Series 7. We didn't get these things. So don't really rely on what the future or what the rumors and leaks are saying. Go ahead right now and choose which device you want to pick up if it's time for you to pick up a new device. Anyway, that's been it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. Like I said, if you did, be sure to Superman that like button, comment down below, and best of all, subscribe to the channels. It does help out a lot, and you guys make my dream a reality. Anyway, that's been it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Anyway, everybody, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to Superman that like button, comment down below, because with the more interactions we get on this video, not only helps the video and the channel, but also pushes the video out to more viewers. And best of all, Superman that subscribe button. Until next time, everybody, and until next video, this is MTG.